Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this video, which shows you how to fit the aluminium stalk end caps for Aston Martin wiper and indicator levers. These caps and buttons will fit every Aston Martin from 2003 DB9 up through Vantage, DBS, Virage, Rapide, and any other Gaydon era Aston Martin up to the year 2016 or 2017. Just to check, if you're unsure, ensure that your indicator and wiper stalks look like this being the wiper stalk with the push button spray, the other one being the trip computer and indicator stalk. Now, you may not know, but these indicator stalks and wiper stalks that I use on all Astons are actually Ford sourced parts. They've actually got a Ford part number on them. I don't know if you can see that, just there. They're actually using a Jaguar X-Type as well. Now, lots of people have said how cheap these look and feel when in use and aren't really befitting of a quality car like an Aston Martin. As those of you who know I am will know, I make the billet alloy heater dial set that matches this set you're going to look at today. This is a video to show you how to fit these to the ends of these stalks. It's quite simple, really. So what do you get in the kit? So in the kit you get the short stalk cap and also the long stalk cap. Each cap has a tiny grub screw fitting that, when tightened, is recessed and is invisible, and these go on the underside of the stalks in any case, so they can't be seen. Also, these are the captive solid billet aluminium buttons that fit inside of these caps. So, how to fit? So let's start with the short cap. So the short cap obviously fits the short stalk with the shorter end, this being the longer one. So the short stalk fits the wipers. Basically, the captive cap button goes into the housing like this. Essentially, is just a push fit tight. They're made to an exact length and an exact width, so they will push on just right up to the point where you can still use the intermittent wiper. All you need to do then is, using the supplied hex key, 1/16 hex key, tighten the grub screw down, making a better job of it than I'm doing. It will go further than that. This is just for the video, to secure the end on. Now, you may find, depending on how much you've pushed it on, you may get a little bit of end float wobble on the button where it's not meeting fully the plastic button underneath, in which case, before you put this on, remove the cap using the supplied silicone sticky pads. Apply one initially to the back of the push button, place it back in the housing, push the cap back on and feel if all the slack has been taken up. In this case, it has. If you don't do that, you will get some rattle between the two metal components when you're on the move. Ask me how I know. Depending on how far you pushed it on and how worn your indicators are, in this case these are very worn second-hand ones, the diameter might be ever so slightly smaller and they may push on further. If yours are nice and new and shiny and hardly used, it may not push on quite as far. You might have to push on extra hard to get it to be more or less flush. And you may need 2 of these pads to space out the button. 2 are supplied in any case. You will not need these on the long side, it's shaped differently. So that's that one on. Once you're happy with no slack, you tighten the grub screw up. That's that one done. Same applies to the long stalk. The captive billet button goes in to this housing. The cap is pushed on tight in that case. There shouldn't be any slack at all. I will supply an extra pad in case, but there shouldn't be any slack to your button. In this case there isn't. And the button will press in. You shouldn't be able to push these on too far, but if you do, you'll be pressing the button down slightly because it will pull it in too far, and you'll be fouling the button underneath. So be careful, but it shouldn't go that far on. You want to have a full spring on the button. As you can hear, it makes a much more satisfying click and feels much nicer than the standard plastic. Again, tighten up the grub screw. Don't over tighten it. It will go beyond flush. It will go recessed into the housing, as I have done there. As you can see, it disappears inside, and that is basically it. So that's your video on how to fit your alloy end stalks, and as you can see, I think you'll agree, they look and they feel to touch much better than the standard plastic ones, and will enhance your driving experience, hopefully. Enjoy.